This episode brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Do you ever find yourself playing the budgeting game? Shifting a little money here, a little there, and hoping it all works out? Well, with the Name Your Price tool from Progressive, you can get a better budgeter and potentially lower your insurance bill too. You tell Progressive what you want to pay for car insurance, and they'll help find you options within your budget. Try it today at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Price and coverage match limited by state law. Not available in all states.
Building a business may feel like a big jump, but OnDeck Small Business Loans can help keep you afloat. With lines of credit up to $100,000 and term loans up to $250,000, OnDeck lets you choose the loan that's right for your business. As a top-rated online small business lender, OnDeck's team of loan advisors can help you find the right business loan to fit your needs. Visit OnDeck.com for more information. Depending on certain loan attributes, your business loan may be issued by OnDeck or Celtic Bank. OnDeck does not lend in North Dakota. All loans and amounts subject to lender approval.
Now tuned into the greatest.
So when that bag come, I won't fumble. I'm just stacking on the low, but hey, I'm tired of being humble. Let me get to it. That motivation music. Get control of your life, don't let nobody else do it. Cause I'm not gonna have Metro S550s cruising. Feel like you winning on the ground.
Yes, sir. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to The Run with me, Manny Wilson, all the way from Detroit to Chicago, to your speakers and headphones. Now, I appreciate you tuning in to the first interactive sports podcast, a community that makes sure your voice is heard. So if you hear something you agree with, you disagree with, you like or you dislike, just go ahead, shoot us a quick take, 219-413-9405. And of course, we will go ahead and play your take back on our next episode. And then speaking of episodes, shout out to SeatGeek for sponsoring this episode. Get $20 off your first ticket purchase when you use the promo code The Run Podcast. Now, this code can only be applied for first-time users on the mobile app or website. So I don't know about you, but my Tigers been balling, so of course I got to go see them. I still got to see them. I've seen the Cubs already, but use that code. Go get your tickets. You can go to concerts, all that stuff as well. A lot of people are performing this summer, so go ahead. Don't miss out on none of that stuff. Now, however, my Tigers, I always mention it for the SeatGeek promotion and everything. And I say, my Tigers is this and they that. They've been doing this and doing that. But I will say over the past week in that Seattle Mariners series, they really didn't display a great example of what I've been saying about how great the Tigers are. Oh, man. We got demolished. We got demolished by the Mariners. It was disgusting. Oh my gosh. I mean, it was bad it was bad pitching. Offensively, it really wasn't that bad, like hitting the ball and stuff like that. We still had, our hitters kind of still did their thing. Torkelson did his thing. Green kind of still did his thing. And there was a couple games that was actually close in that series. Actually, it was one specifically toward the end, but the score just does not reflect any of that. Looking at the game, it looked a little sloppy at times, game after game. I'm talking day 1, day 2, day 3. It looked bad at times. We gave up 35 runs in 3 games, which is just disgusting. This is very unlikely for the Tigers that I've been watching all season. I haven't seen them play like this at all, and we haven't got swept by anybody at all. This is the first time all season where we did get swept. So that did concern a lot of people as well. But offensively, we weren't really bad for real. It was a couple people. Meadows, he still struggled. Bearings, he kind of struggled still. But it really, our clutch performers and our guys that we can usually count on did show up for the most part, and they did what they usually do. I think if anything, this series here against the Mariners, us getting swept, us allowing 35 runs in 3 games, if anything, this just shows to the problem that we need more pitching help outside of Skubal. I mean, he's great, and he even struggled at times in this series. You kind of seen the frustration in his face and in his game all throughout this series because he was pitching, and it still really wasn't the best type of performance for the Tigers all along that game. But he also got pulled early because of the All-Star thing. But above all, this just shows that the Tigers, we need more help come pitching time, bro, because outside of Skubal, we kind of struggle. We allow a lot of runs. I mean, we let guys, it was kind of a home run derby, early ticket to the home run derby watching this Mariners and Tigers series all throughout the weekend because, I enjoyed that they tried to throw in some different guys and let some position guys pitch and kind of get a feel for the game, especially since we had to rest Skubal for the All-Star break and things like that. You want to keep him fresh. Don't want his arm to go bad at all, but it was rough, man. It was just a rough time for the Detroit Tigers. And as I talk about the Tigers, I also want to give credit to the Mariners too, because they did their part. Oh my gosh, Cal Riley, this dude, I think he's leading the league in home runs right now. But Cal Riley, man, this dude is serious, and he's close to hitting 400 total. But whew, man, he was on a tear. I think he performed well. I would have to go back and double check. But I'm pretty sure Riley performed well all throughout the series besides that last game. The last game, he kind of struggled a little bit. But just looking at the scores of these games, man, it was rough. It was extremely rough. And I'm going to tell you exactly what it was. So, it's not bad. And I don't think anyone should overreact. But I do want to give context on why I'm going hard on the Tigers for, having such a rough time here in this series, against the Mariners. And Mariners, they're not a bad team. If the playoffs was to start, they'd be in it. So you can't count them out. But that first game, we lost 12-3. A beatdown. We caught the belt. I'll put it that way. Plain and simple, we caught the belt. It was a beatdown. 12-3. The second game, it was still rough, 15-7. I don't know how the hell we was allowing so many runs. The third game, 8-4, and it was also a little bit closer toward the end. But again, the score doesn't necessarily reflect that. But if anything, all this shows here in this series against the Mariners, yeah, we got swept. Yeah, we didn't play the best type of baseball for anybody who watched us for the first time. But it just shows that we need to make moves at the deadline to help our bullpen. We need to have more pitching consistency. We need to have more depth at the pitching on the mound. We just need more when it comes to pitching in the ball game outside of Skubal, because we know what he can do. He's great, but when he's struggling or we have to rest him, we need other guys to step in. So this brings me to the thought of, okay, with the deadline coming up pretty soon, obviously we got to make some moves. Draft happened today. I'm not going to analyze the draft as I'm talking about this, but with the deadline coming up, we got to make some moves. The biggest rumor right now is Paul Skeens. If we get Paul Skeens with Tariq Skubal, I would personally, you wouldn't hear anything else outside of going to the World Series for the Detroit Tigers. That's all I would say. Any other clip that you would see about the Tigers would just be World Series if we somehow landed Paul Skeens and kept Tariq Skubal and continue, didn't have to give up much. Long story short, I would be shocked. I would love to see that. But it's just, it's tough to manage because you don't want to give up too much in this situation. But it's also yeah, we've kind of built in-house, which is amazing from what we've done so far. But how much longer will it take through the years? And then obviously we know a lot of people are going to be big targets coming into next season just because of the way that they've been playing. So, I feel like we just need a little bit more pitching wise. And I know there's some other prospects we can get for fielding and stuff like that. But at the mound is where we need the most work for the Detroit Tigers. And possibly, to me, in order to make that deep playoff run, that's going to be the biggest issue. So that's what I'm focusing on. But I'm cool with the in-house, the slow growth with everybody here type of thing, and guys we're building ingrown stuff like that. I'm cool with that, but I just think some people might not be able to hang around. I think certain guys, because they've been playing so well with the Tigers, if we don't make a move on them, somebody like the Yankees, Phillies, Braves, somebody else is going to try and snatch them up. So I think about this with guys like Torkelson. He's one of those people where I'm he might get snatched up down the line. Cole Keith, he's another one where I'm maybe if he's not the one, if we don't mess around and lock him up on a deal, then he'll probably be going. God forbid we lose Skubal. I don't even want to think about that. But just certain pieces we have to make sure we keep. And obviously I'm cool with the long growth, but it does take time. And the more time goes along and the more these guys continue to establish themselves and show that how great of baseball players they are, the rest of the league is also going to be on notice. And they got money. Somehow everybody else be finessing the luxury tax, and they be finessing these contracts. So if the Tigers don't get on it, I just don't want to lose anyone trying to be patient in building the roster down the line. I want to go ahead, still have a sense of urgency. Let's bring people in at the deadline, make some moves if we have to. But ultimately, I just don't want to be too patient and end up losing out on talent that we should have retained and we should have kept to go on a deep playoff run. So at that, man, I say all that to say this All-Star break was needed for the Tigers. Getting swept against the Mariners, it was rough. It looked nasty. They were very unlike themselves in a lot of these games, in a lot of situations. We've seen just muffed balls and just drops. We just seen it just was unlike the Tigers that I've been watching and that I've been paying attention to. So it was weird to me, but this break is going to be good. We come back against the Rangers. They're like, you can't sleep on them, but they also aren't the best team in the American League right now. So I'm not too worried, but it would be a good step for us and a good challenge for us to kind of refocus and get back on track after getting swept by the Mariners. But also, I don't think anyone should be overreacting in this situation. Anyone who watched this Mariners series with the Tigers, and I know the Tigers played bad, whatever, but you shouldn't overreact because we've seen a lot of teams get swept. I mean, it wasn't on me. I knew the Tigers wasn't just going to go all season long without possibly getting swept, without possibly having a losing series. Like, it's kind of crazy to think that they would just go all season long and not get swept. We've seen the Dodgers just come off of a 6-game, 7-game losing streak, but yet they're still a top team in the league. So, it's no need to overreact about it. They had a bad stretch, and it'll probably be another bad stretch that the Tigers go through. I'm sure it might be 2 or 3 more that we see where they play a team and get swept. But I'll leave you with this. The last time the Tigers got swept by the Mariners, guess what happened? We won the World Series. So, hey, I ain't saying it's going to happen, but look, it's possible. Last time the Tigers got swept, we won the World Series. I'm going to leave it at that. All right, look, we got some more stuff coming up, man. Don't go anywhere. We got some stuff about Kirk Cousins, man. A lot of people feeling sorry for Kirk Cousins. And is it necessary? Is it not? I would let you know if it is necessary, if we need to have a heart for Kirk Cousins or not in this situation. But stay tuned. It's halftime. We'll be right back. Don't go anywhere.
This episode is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Do you ever think about switching insurance companies to see if you could save some cash? Progressive makes it easy. Just drop in some details about yourself and see if you're eligible to save money when you bundle your home and auto policies. The process only takes minutes, and it could mean hundreds more in your pocket. Visit Progressive.com after this episode to see if you could save. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Potential savings will vary. Not available in all states.
Building a business may feel like a big jump, but OnDeck Small Business Loans can help keep you afloat. With lines of credit up to $100,000 and term loans up to $250,000, OnDeck lets you choose the loan that's right for your business. As a top-rated online small business lender, OnDeck's team of loan advisors can help you find the right business loan to fit your needs. Visit OnDeck.com for more information. Depending on certain loan attributes, your business loan may be issued by OnDeck or Celtic Bank. OnDeck does not lend in North Dakota. All loans and amounts subject to lender approval.
All right, man. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to The Run with me, Manny Wilson. And I'm excited to get into this topic here because Kirk Cousins, man, as you know, he's on Netflix quarterback series for the second time. We already seen him on there when he was with the Vikings the season before he left. But now he's on there again with my Atlanta Falcons, and a lot of people are opening up their hearts to Kirk Cousins because they're like, oh, well, Kirk Cousins, oh, man, this is such an emotional story. He played through an injury. He's a warrior. He played through an injury, but yet the Falcons still disrespected him. He's been kind of throwing shots at the Atlanta Falcons staff, saying he didn't feel welcome, said he was misled when the Falcons drafted Michael Penix Jr. All of these things are being said. Now, I haven't watched the quarterback series yet because I am waiting on my partner. I'm waiting on my lady. We got to watch it together, so it is what it is. But I'll get there. I'll watch the full thing. I can't avoid certain clips and stuff, but I'm trying to be patient and wait for her so we can both watch it together and talk about it. That's why I haven't watched it yet. However, With Kirk Cousins being on this series, crying and doing all of this pouting, trying to blame the franchise of the Atlanta Falcons, oh, hell no, man. We're not going for any of that. I have zero sympathy for Kirk Cousins because Kirk Cousins single-handedly ruined my Atlanta Falcons season last year. We started off tremendous. We started off great. First in the division, 6-3. Was not losing any games. Primetime Kirk Cole Chains, swag surf, all of that stuff. And then all of a sudden, Kirk wanted to be Mr. Macho, taking advice from Drew Brees, as he said in Drew Brees' book, who's a Saint. Come on now. What you already done lost the mental game. You listening to Saints? Are you serious? So you take his advice, you play through this injury, we go down a slippery slope of just bad football, offense not working, you're playing terrible, 9 interceptions in 3 games, you just playing terrible, Kirk, but you kept your own selfishness intact rather than sacrificing yourself and saying, you know what, let me go actually rest, my shoulder is hurting, I'm gonna let Michael Penix do his thing. You're still Kirk Cousins. You probably still would have had a position. You're still on a 4-year deal. You're still getting paid $180 million for 4 years. Like, come on, man. You ain't got no reason to be that upset. And then obviously you displayed that you had skill, but things like this, it rubs me the wrong way. And I'm sure some other owners, general managers out there for the Atlanta Falcons and others in the NFL, I'm sure it rubs them the wrong way because it's like, okay, if we do sign you or if we trade for you, Kirk Cousins, are you going to hide another injury too and just tank our team? Are you going to take us down a slippery slope of failure because you want to hide an injury and you don't want to give a backup quarterback a chance to play? Like, I understand that part of like, you know, if you can play through, you can play through it. But damn it, no, like you were clearly hurt and you were clearly playing bad. And just time after time, you kept saying, I'm good. And you ultimately knocked us out the playoffs your damn self. Put Michael Penix Jr. in a situation where he had to save the season and help us out. And that wasn't even, that's not supposed to be a role for a rookie quarterback. Like what? To save the season after you've already tanked us? So no, man, I have absolutely zero sympathy for Kirk Cousins and him feeling some type of way about the organization, drafting Penix, and also too hiding his injury. No, I have zero sympathy because he tanked my team hiding his injury. We were literally rolling. And he was playing good. So if Kirk Cousins, think about it this way, and this is kind of how I look at it. I understand he didn't want to give Michael Penix Jr. a chance to come in a game. You listen to Drew Brees, someone who was a New Orleans Saint for his whole career. I don't understand why you would even do that plan for the Atlanta Falcons. But it sounds like Saints fans got the edge over you already. So yeah, stay on the bench right there first and foremost. Second of all, if you came off that high of throwing 500 yards in the game, you had 3 touchdowns, 500 yards. You were killing it the first half of the season, Kirk. You were swag surfing, Kirk Cole Chains, primetime Kirk. Everybody erased that narrative that you can't win in prime time. It was all of that stuff going on. You was making crazy amount of noise. If you would have got hurt, or the game that you did get hurt against the Saints, I believe it was, if you would have been like, the shoulder is bothering me, I need to sit down, I need to rest, I'm sure there would have been people still banging at your door and still trying to get you to play on the field. And hell, if Michael Penix Jr. did come out and kill it like he did in the time that he did spend playing for you, I'm sure it would have been much easier to even find you a trade because it's like, okay, it's just a shoulder injury. But when Kirk was healthy, this is what he was doing. When Kirk was healthy, he was throwing for 500 yards, 4 touchdowns, and no interceptions. When Kirk was healthy, this is what the conversation would have been completely different amongst GMs and amongst agents and amongst owners to try and even bring Kirk Cousins there. But you literally decided to just stay and do this to yourself. So no, I don't feel bad. I don't feel bad at all for Kirk Cousins that he did that. And I think it's insane that anyone does because he did it himself. He did it himself. I have zero sympathy. You got a big contract. You got a huge contract, $180 million. Still got time left on your contract. You literally ruined the Falcons season for being selfish. Your fault. And you took advice from a New Orleans Saint. It was all on you. So I understand, I'm personally, despite all of this stuff that's going on, of people feeling bad for Kirk, no, I'm glad people got to see that he ruined the Atlanta Falcons season. Because me as a Falcons fan, I'm over here trying to explain and say, oh yeah, the Falcons are still good. We solid offensively. We gonna be straight next year. Now that Michael Penix Jr. is there and all of that. But ain't nobody believing me. Ain't nobody hearing me. Because to me, we just look like the fools that was in a great position, started off hot and went down the decline. That's what we look like as Falcons fans. And that's all thanks to you, Kirk Cousins. All thanks to you. Now, this ain't got nothing to do with living situation and all of that stuff. I get it can be tough going through the injury. I on that part, maybe I'll feel for you a little bit, give you some sympathy. You've been dealing with injuries a lot in your career. That's always been a big thing. But in terms of what you did to the Atlanta Falcons, I have no sympathy in that. I hope you're okay. I hope he's good. I hope he's stable and everything is fine with his family and in the house, all of that stuff. I ain't saying he's a bad person, none of that. But I'm just saying what he did to the Atlanta Falcons, I have zero sympathy. And I think the Atlanta Falcons will definitely bounce back. And I think we'll be straight coming up in this season because obviously everyone's healthy. Michael Penix Jr. coming off a solid season where he was able to get on the field and get some experience a little bit. So I'm excited to see what he does in a full season. Also, I'm excited that, granted, something does happen to Michael Penix Jr. where he needs to sit out for a couple weeks. Okay, Kirk Cousins is there, and we've seen how solid he was when he was healthy. So I'm not upset in that instance, and I am still happy that we have Kirk Cousins on the roster. Yes, he's taking up a lot of money, but also he's a great insurance policy at that quarterback position, especially when you got two quarterbacks who so-called have an injury problem throughout their whole entire career. So I'm content with that, and I think with the Falcons still bringing back Bijan, O-line is still pretty decent. And obviously receivers have a little more depth there. I'm okay with where we're headed. I think offensively, we'll have a very dynamic offense. Zach Robinson, he was pretty solid. He was pretty solid. So he was pretty solid for the most part, running the offense, and then new defensive coordinator as well. So I'm a little optimistic about the Atlanta Falcons and the things that we can do there. But I think the biggest question is always health. And if Kirk Cousins does get traded mid-season or before the deadline, as long as we can bring in, another insurance policy where maybe we do have a backup quarterback under Michael Penix Jr. and add some more depth on the defense or wide receiving. But I don't think the Atlanta Falcons should be in any rush. They shouldn't be in a single bit of a rush to possibly trade Kirk Cousins. Just because he's there, you already paid him, he's going to get his money regardless. And it's no reason to get him off the roster when he's your backup quarterback. And if your backup quarterback has to get on the field, at least he is solid, because when he performs. When he's healthy, he's solid. So I'm content with that. I'm content with Michael Penix Jr. Being the starting quarterback. I'm content with Kirk Cousins being the backup quarterback. The only thing I dislike is that dishonesty that was going on last season with Kirk Cousins. So all of that stuff, the dishonesty of hiding the injury and all of that, man, that's not it. That's not at all cool, man. So I'm excited though, but it'll be cool. Anyway, look, man, I'm gonna leave y'all with this because I always do the positive note. So the positive note today, it's just gonna be, go out and get some exercise. But that's just walking. But just do something to, break a quick sweat. You listen to sports all day, you watch sports, whatever. If you ain't sweating a couple of days, do something to get a good active sweat, man. That's just going to be that simple. Sometimes that little bit of sweat that you do intentionally, it kind of motivates you to do something else in a way. Like, it makes you feel a little productive. It makes you want to be a little bit more productive. So I'm going to just say, you ain't got to go out and pull a truck around a block or nothing like that. You ain't got to do nothing extreme. I ain't saying go do no CrossFit, but just, break a little sweat, even if that's cranking out 100 push-ups. Something. Just, maybe you got to just hit some push-ups, feel a good little burn in your chest or something. That's not alcohol. So I'll put it that way, man. That's going to be the positive note, and that's going to ultimately help out with just, taking care of your body. So it's just something positive there. And other than that, man, that's all I got. So I appreciate you guys for tuning in. We Thursday. Till I got Thursday, I'm going to try. Oh, this is important. So before I go, and I got to clip this up too, because I need recommendations. All right. So Thursday, I'm going to try. And maybe it won't happen Thursday because Thursday is actually very, very close. And I doubt I'm going to be able to watch all of these before Thursday. But at some point, either Thursday or Monday, whatever, some point during this offseason, I want to rank these baseball movies. And I want to give like the top baseball movies. So just some basic baseball movies that I thought of and that I have on the list of where I'm going to rank them. And I want you to rank them first, and then I'll come back and I'll try and, put together after I've watched all of them. But I haven't seen all of them. I've seen some, but not all. So rank these baseball movies and which ones I should watch first. I haven't seen them all. I've seen some. But then I want to give a final ranking of which ones is the best top 5 baseball movies. So Hardball is 1, Mr. 3000, Angels in the Outfield, 42, Sandlot, Field of Dreams. If there's any other baseball movies that you could think of where it's like, oh, you have to watch this one to put it in a top 5 ranking, let me know. Because I want to watch them. I want to rank them and all of that, especially since we're in the off season. I'm going to do the same thing with basketball. I'm going to do the same thing with football. But it's baseball season right now. So let's do it with baseball. I'm going to try and get this out, get the clip out, and then post it, and then post my reaction of which ones I think is the top 5 baseball movies. But if you've seen any of these, please let me know which one I should watch first. I've seen 42, seen Sandlot. It's been a long time since I've seen a lot of these, though, so I do need to watch. But let me know which baseball movies you think I should start watching first in order to make this top 5 list. That's it. All right. And then other than that, that's all I got. So now I'm actually out of here. I'm leaving. I'll be back Thursday. No, I'm not going to have the list ready by I'm not going to cap. I'm not even going to cap to y'all. I will not have the list ready by Thursday. Maybe Thursday of next week, possibly. But we'll see. But anyway, that's all I got, man. So I appreciate y'all for kicking it, for tuning in, listening. If you're on a live stream, if you're on the pod episode, Spotify, iPodcast, iHeartRadio, or even if you just watch the clips on Instagram, YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, anywhere. I do appreciate it. Follow us on YouTube at The Run Podcast. Hey, man, we almost... Hey, man, I ain't gonna say nothing. Look, but I would just say follow us on there, YouTube at The Run Podcast. And we'll be back later on next week. Oh, no, this week. We'll be back Thursday. It's just a slow time. So if y'all only get 1 episode a week, don't be mad, please. Just know it's slow as hell right now. I watch baseball, but it's just slow. You should know. All right. That's it, man. I'm up out of here. I'll see y'all later on this week. And so on and so on and so on.